Sirens rang out, shattering the morning peace and scattering the birds into the sky across Tel Aviv. Israel's capital was once again under attack. We could feel the city shake, and several loud blasts were heard before it became clear that one missile had made it through the Iron Dome and struck at the heart of the business district.
The shelter, we are sitting in the shelter room. The door was slapped away.
Madar lives just next to where the missile landed. She, like most, had made it to shelter, and offices in the area were already closed. Iran had sent some of its most powerful missiles in this latest barrage, and Israelis found out their prized defense system is not infallible.
It's a tsunami of bombs, not from the sea, from the sky.
At the same time this morning, Israel targeted another nuclear facility in Iran. Most Iranians have heeded Israeli warnings to evacuate, but this young man has decided to stay. He told us he's afraid of arrest by the Iranian regime and scared of Israel's bombs. He feels stuck in the middle, not knowing what to do. A week into this war, there is no sign of a let-up from either side. This missile strike on the largest hospital in southern Israel has triggered ominous warnings from the Israeli government. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Iran would pay a high price. The Soroka hospital had mostly been evacuated, so there were not any serious casualties. But today patients were being moved to safety.
There was a fire and a heavy black smoke. War zone. What can I say? War zone.
There is a crater in the roof of one of the older buildings where the missile struck.
All of the windows in the building were blown out by the power of the blast. We can see that many of the ceilings have collapsed, and here on the ground there is a mound of rubble, of bricks, door frames, pipes and boxes of medical equipment.
Any missile that makes it through is a win for Iran, but this hit on an Israeli hospital could lead us into a more dangerous and decisive phase of this conflict. Debbie Edward, ITV News, Southern Israel.
Well, all eyes are on Donald Trump's next move. So let's get the latest from Washington with our US correspondent, Dan Rivers. So what are we expecting to happen next, Dan?
Well, within the last few minutes, Charlene, the press secretary here, Karoline Leavitt, has said, given the significant potential for negotiations with Iran, a decision on whether to take military action against Iran will be made within the next 2 weeks. So that clearly suggests a longer time frame than perhaps we were led to believe before. The president had spent the morning, or certainly some of this lunchtime here in Washington, in the Situation Room with his National Security Council. He had pushed back on this reporting from the Wall Street Journal suggesting that he'd already signed off on the plan to strike Iran, but hadn't made the decision yet, tweeting out earlier on, posting on Truth Social, the Wall Street Journal has no idea what my thoughts are concerning Iran. Obviously, there is a diplomatic track which is still ongoing that will carry on in Geneva, and I think from what we've heard now from Karoline Leavitt just in the last few minutes, it seems like that they want to give that diplomatic track some time before they completely give up on it and commit to joining Israel in some sort of military action. Now, the question obviously is, will Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu be prepared to wait for that 2 weeks? Or, as there has been some reporting around, suggestions that perhaps the Israelis will try and do something on their own, although they do not have the B-2 bombers and ground-penetrating munitions that would be needed to tackle this facility from the air.
OK, Dan, thanks very much. Well, here the Prime Minister's urged Donald Trump to step back from military action against Iran. So Keir Starmer warned it could deepen the crisis in the Middle East.
are very concerned about the nuclear programme that Iran is developing, long been concerned about that. Also completely recognise Israel's right to self-defence, but the principle is that we need to de-escalate this. There's a real risk of escalation here that will impact the region, possibly beyond the region.
Well, our international editor Emma Murphy is in Iraq near the border with Iran for us tonight. And Emma, the Prime Minister, is he right to be concerned about where this could lead?
Oh yes, without question, and it is a concern that is shared in capitals and different parts of this world, and with very, very good reason. That statement that's just come out from the White House saying that President Trump is likely to take up to 2 weeks to decide whether or not he is going to actually do this strike will be taken with a very significant pinch of salt in diplomatic and intelligence quarters, where there is very much a feeling that this is something that is likely to happen far sooner than that. There have been talks, we understand, between Steve Witkoff, who is President Trump's negotiator, and the Iranians. But the feeling from those I'm speaking to is that they are very much window dressing, that they are not likely to achieve very much. And the Iranians are still holding to their position that they are happy to talk, they will talk, that they do not want to build some kind of nuclear weapon, but they will not get into discussions whilst there are still attacks coming in from Israel. Of course, Donald Trump says that nobody knows what his decision is on this. Indeed, maybe he doesn't at this point, but for sure, people all around the world are rightly incredibly concerned about what that decision will be when it comes.